I think one is trying to get that diversification through Asian equities and dollar bonds today. It's been about being more sector specific. So our sector calls for energy and financials for a large part this year, for example. They really did help to a large degree. And as we spoke earlier, I think more recently just taking advantage of those higher bond yields through income assets, but diversifying that across bonds and equities as well.
So a moment ago you referred to energy, which is really one of the primary drivers of what we're seeing in the inflation story. Give me your outlook in about 30 seconds. What do you expect for crude oil?
Well, I think for crude, we expect prices to stay elevated, perhaps grind only modestly higher. And I think that really stems from what's still a very, very tight sort of demand-supply balance. I think we've made a little bit of progress in terms of improving supply, but I think China's economic normalization to a large degree might offset that. So we're not looking for sort of major energy price spikes. That's clearly one of the risks we're monitoring. But we do think a tight demand-supply balance is likely to keep prices at fairly high levels.
All right, Manpreet, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us, Manpreet Gilder. He's head of FICC Investment Strategy at Standard Chartered Private Bank, talking to us there from Singapore. Well, the rally we saw on Wall Street likely to give some buoyancy to equities in Asia. More on that coming up. This is Bloomberg Daybreak Asia.
We had a lot of dollar weakness in the New York session with the Bloomberg Dollar Spot Index dropping about 0.9%. Flip side has given us a much stronger Japanese yen and a much stronger offshore Chinese yuan. The story is coming up.
From the state courts
The state didn't defend the governor's order.
to the Supreme Court,
The justices unanimously reversed rulings by the 9th and 10th Circuits.
Julie Grasso delivers your legal intelligence.
So why did the appellate division dismiss the complaint?
Bloomberg Law.
President Biden's vaccine mandates are facing problems in the courts.
Tonight at 10 on Bloomberg 1130, the Bloomberg Business app, and BloombergRadio.com.
Interactive Broker's simple IBKR Global Trader app makes it easy for anyone to invest in stocks worldwide. Scan the market for opportunities, deposit in your local currency, and trade stocks in the U.S., Canada, Europe, and Asia. Take a free trial of IBKR Global Trader and gain instant access to a paper trading account with $10,000 in simulated cash. Put the world in the palm of your hand. Start your free trial today at ibkr.com/globaltrader.
Everyone seems to be going electric, and Hudson Hyundai has a huge selection of all-new electric Hyundais in stock for you. Tier 1 customers can drive a new car with just $68 down, like a new all-electric Hyundai Ioniq 5 or the all-new electric Hyundai Kona, only $68 down. Even a new Genesis GV70 or Genesis GV80, just $68 down. Hudson Hyundai has over 425 new and pre-owned vehicles in stock. That's $68 down, available on 425 vehicles. Call 800-599-0782. That's 800-599-0782. And all new Hyundais and Genesis come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Call Hudson Hyundai at 800-599-0782. That's 800-599-0782. Or visit us online at hudsonhyundai.com. Payments will vary. Credit severity affects approval. See dealer for details.
Are you interested in a challenging and exciting career in the New York metro area? One where you can be part of solving complex challenges across industries and geographies. Bloomberg's ever-expanding technology, data, news, and media services foster innovation, empower clients, and offer nearly limitless opportunities for career growth. Visit Bloomberg.com/careers to view our current job opportunities in New York and Princeton, New Jersey. Bloomberg LP is an equal opportunity employer. The address once again is Bloomberg.com/careers.
At PPAC Private Wealth Management, we know that a portfolio is more than just a collection of assets. It's a path to your future. We know this because for over 100 years, we've developed relationships built on trust and unwavering dedication to our clients. To learn about our approach to advice and planning, investment management, and trust and fiduciary solutions, visit ppacprivate.com. Start growing your financial legacy today. Not FDIC insured, no bank guarantee, may lose value.
Now Bloomberg traffic and weather. The inbound George Washington Bridge, the upper level mid-span. You've got the right lane closed for continued police activity. That is why you still have a 35-minute delay into the upper level tolls, and for that matter, it's 35 minutes downstairs as well. Lincoln Tunnel leaving town 10 minutes, back in 40 minutes. Outbound Holland Tunnel 30 minutes, into town 15 for both the Turnpike and from 1 and 9. The ride in Manhattan continues to improve. The west side right now, some brake taps, 90s into the 110s, that would be off. The Harlem River Drive slow, 150s on up. Looks like the ride traveling over New Jersey. Fire department activity, 46 in Clifton both ways near Piaget Avenue. There was a 3-alarm fire on Piaget Avenue, and so that neighborhood is quite slow. Sports, no score in the Bronx thus far between the Yankees and the Tampa Bay Rays. Rough start for David Peterson, who's starting tonight for the Mets. Last check in the first inning, the Brewers already with a 2-0 lead. Bloomberg 11:30, 3-day weather. Tonight, partly cloudy, some showers overnight, lows of 65. Thursday, scattered showers, high 75 to 80. Friday, morning sun, afternoon showers and thunderstorms, high 90. Saturday, sunny and breezy and a high near 75. Right now, 71 degrees. Skies are clear with the best ride in and out of the city. I'm Ed Pileggi, Bloomberg 1130, bringing you global news 24 hours a day.
Broadcasting live from the Bloomberg Interactive Brokers Studio in New York. Bloomberg 1130 to Washington, D.C. Bloomberg 99.1 to Boston. Bloomberg 1061 to San Francisco. Bloomberg 960 to the country. Sirius XM Channel 119 and around the globe. The Bloomberg Business app and BloombergRadio.com. This is Bloomberg Daybreak Asia.
7:30 in the morning right here in Hong Kong, and in Beijing it is 7:30 in the evening on the Atlantic seaboard of the United States. I'm Rashad Salaman.
And I'm Doug Krisner at the Bloomberg Interactive Broker Studio in New York. We'll get trading underway at the top of the hour in Tokyo, Sydney, and Seoul. Not just for the equity markets, but U.S. sovereign debt will begin trading in Japan at the top of the hour. Quite a day in terms of performance for U.S. markets, not just on the stock market side, but in the bond market as well. We'll talk more about all the price action for you coming up after we update a few of this hour's top business stories, including the big one of the day. Rish.
Absolutely. Federal Reserve raising interest rates by 75 basis points. It's the biggest increase that we've seen since 1994. Here is Fed Chair Jay Powell after that decision.
Contrary to expectations, inflation again surprised to the upside. Some indicators of inflation expectations have risen, and projections of this year have moved up notably. So we thought that strong action was warranted at this meeting, and today we delivered that.
Well, Powell said that another 75 or 50 basis point move was likely at the Fed's July meeting. However, he does not expect moves of this size to be common. The Federal Open Market Committee also cut its 2022 GDP outlook, saying that unemployment could rise. However, Powell also said that he saw, quote, no sign of a broader economic slowdown.
Well, the European Central Bank is promising a new tool to curb market stress. This is a response to jumps that we saw recently in euro area bond yields, and it prompted today an emergency meeting for the ECB. After which, the ECB said the pandemic has left the euro area with vulnerabilities and more action would be needed. Here is Bloomberg's Maria Tadeo.
This is basically what investors out there, particularly in the European market, wanted to hear and had been wanting to hear for a week now, that this is not just an abstract term, that the European Central Bank will fight fragmentation in the context of rate hikes, but actually put it on paper, something concrete. I think it also goes beyond the initial idea in this meeting that this would be about reinvesting the PEP, so it does take it to the next level.
Well, the ECB said the timetable for this new tool is unclear. Last week, you might recall, the ECB pledged to stop purchasing bonds as of July 1st, and then the ECB is expected to deliver a rate hike later next month in July and another in the month of September. Rish?
Yep, I'm going to take a look at some regional company news. It's Cathay Pacific Airways planning to recruit some 4,000 staff between now and the end of next year. The CEO of the company is Augustus Tang. He said that the carrier needs to replenish its workforce ahead of an anticipated recovery in air travel. Cathay's plan marks a turnaround in the airline's outlook after 3 years of turmoil and cost-cutting. However, the hiring spree would still leave Cathay short of pre-COVID levels. Cathay's workforce has shrunk by about 40% during the pandemic.
Speaking of shrinkage, Spotify says it will slow hiring growth by 25%. The online audio service saying it will continue to add to headcount in this coming months. However, it's going to adjust its plans in light of macroeconomic factors. think higher interest rates, right? That's one reason to be concerned. Now, if you step back and look at the performance of Spotify stock against the S&P 500, first the S&P, which is down so far this year by more than 20%. Spotify shares, though, in the same period are off more than 50%. 34 past the hour as we get you caught up on market action as we get set for trading in Tokyo, Sydney, and Seoul. We talked a moment ago about that Fed rate hike, 75 basis points. Powell also warned not to expect 75 basis point moves to be really common, and I think that's what the market seized upon. We had relief rallies in the equity market and in the bond market as well, with the Dow Industrial Average picking up about 1%. But look at the NASDAQ composite today, better by 2.5%. In the broader market, the S&P 500 rose 1.5%. In the Treasury market, we had yields down across the curve, particularly at the short end. That's where you're going to have the most sensitivity to changes in Fed policy. The 2-year today was down 23 basis points. Wow, 3.19%. But that move in rates lower weakened the dollar quite a bit, with the Bloomberg Dollar Spot Index dropping 0.9%. We have on the flip side a much stronger Japanese yen, 134.15, and the offshore Chinese yuan strong as well. It picked up about 1.3% against the greenback in New York trading. Offshore, we're trading at 68.05 against the greenback. Quick look at futures for the Nikkei Chicago contract, 26,710. We're more than 300 points above where we were yesterday in the cash market in Japan. We'll have more on markets in 15 minutes. Rish?
All right, time now. Have a look at that global news. Taiwan has won a victory from World Cup soccer over its very name. Ed Baxter has global news, but it's somewhat of a victory anyway, Ed.
Exactly right, Rish. It's the way that it's being referred to. Organizers of November's Soccer World Cup in Qatar have apparently given in to outrage from Taiwan officials and have altered a ticketing system that had identified Taiwanese attendees as representing China. Now, that's the victory. Now, another separate part of the app will continue to ask where people live and will continue to include Taiwan province of China. The head of U.S. Joint Chiefs of Staff, Mark Milley, says Russia has lost 20 to 30% of its forces in Ukraine and that no battle is lost there.
Right now, the Severodonetsk city is probably 3/4 taken or so by Russian forces, but the Ukrainians are fighting them street by street, house by house, and it's not a done deal. There are no inevitabilities in war.
And he says the advanced military supplies to Ukraine are arriving. The head of NATO, Jens Stoltenberg, says Ukraine needs to win the war for the good of Europe and the world.
Russia's war against Ukraine is posing the biggest threat to Euro-Atlantic security in decades.
Stoltenberg says it is a brutal war of attrition. Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida plans to attend a NATO summit later this month, showing support for Japan's efforts during the Russian war in Ukraine, and he will become the first Japanese premier to attend such a meeting. Moderna's COVID vaccine for infants and toddlers has won support of the U.S. FDA regulatory advisors. Down to 6 months of age puts parents one step closer to being able to protect their kids. Shanghai will conduct mass testing in residential compounds every weekend through the end of July as authorities remain wary of new infection chains that can spawn wider outbreaks. And Hong Kong's bar and nightclub owners say they were caught off guard when the government